Hi guys. Well, it's been a while since my last video, and I've got a few more subscribers. I'm up to 19 whole subscribers now, and I appreciate it. Um, this video was supposed to be about secret society and masonry and a few other of those similar type evil man scouts kind of clubs. But I kind of want to, I'm going to do that video. Actually, that video is going to get done. But there's a couple things that came up before I could get to making it. And I think that this is a much more important topic that people need to understand. And what this video is going to be about is the weaponization of social media. And if you don't quite understand what that is, I'm going to try and explain it to you in this video the best I can and try to show you some examples of how it's being done, the methods that are used, and some of the people that are behind it. And it's a big topic to cover because there's a lot of different aspects to how social media is being weaponized. But I'm going to try and cover it here so that people understand exactly what's being done and what they need to watch out for. And let's just get started. The first thing I want to say is that there is the amount of fake social media accounts that are out there are in the millions. So even if you see somebody that has 1 million subscribers, it doesn't mean that they're even popular. That's really what it's come down to. Social media is so fake. What they're trying to do is, there used to be these things called shills, and they're still shills. And it's basically people that are used to either sell products or ideologies, and they disguise themselves as like real people in the crowd. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to change the word shill into influencer. And they're trying to make what used to be looked down on as like scum of the earth type behavior into like a good thing, basically. They're literally taking something that used to be the trash of society and they're trying to turn it into a good thing, and they changed the name. The reason the name is now influencers is because shills is what they are, and it has negative connotations to it. So that's why you're seeing this big push for influencers, and they're trying to make that a new word because it's basically a cover for what used to be shill scum of the earth. So whenever you see somebody trying to like promote the word influencer as like a good thing, just understand that 10 years ago, that was the name for that would have been shill scum of the earth. And that's the first point that I want to make. And the first thing I want to show you is how PR is used to create fake popularity. And the way I'm going to do that deal with that topic is this channel right here. It's called London Real, and it should be called London Fake as Shit, because that's what it is. I don't even know this guy's name. This guy here, he's just a big fucking shill douchebag. And what the way it works is that you can basically, and there's a bunch of different ways that this happens, but the main way that this type of shill works is that they buy subscribers. And the way you can tell when somebody buys subscribers is, you can look here, and this guy has 970,000 subscribers, almost 1 million subscribers here. And if you look at the vids here, take a look at his vids. Barely the vids get up around 20,000 views. You can go back a week, 1.5 thousand views, 5.8 thousand views. And this is somebody here that has almost 1 million subscribers. This is one of the biggest ways that PR. This is more the PR side of the shilling, where they're selling people and products. And what this London Reel is he's kind of like a more, well, he's selling ideologies, number one. Like, if you watch through some of these vids, he's definitely trying to sell people on the prevailing ideology of the day, meaning like that the stock market's good and everybody should be rich and dependent, and it's just this channel is pure propaganda, and it's pure bought and paid for subscribers. Nobody is interested in this content, but if you were to look at his subscribers, you'd think that he was one popular motherfucker. But if you look at the actual vids, nobody's watching them, and that's because this is all paid for. This is all paid for popularity. And the reason I'm just showing you this, because I want you to understand, just because you may see somebody that has 500,000 subscribers, that doesn't make them legitimate in any sort of way at all. They have zero. Don't take subscribers or likes or comments as any sort of legitimacy, because, well, I'll get into the comments a little bit later, but what I'm saying is this, what this guy is doing is he's similar to a Joe Rogan type of shill. This Joe Rogan's a little more nefarious than this guy is. Joe Rogan is just he's an asset of some sort of think tank. Joe Rogan's probably the most effective shill that they have right now. He basically tells these retards what they need to be thinking about and what topics they should be on their mind. And it's very similar to what this guy from London Reel's trying to do. But this guy, what he does is he pushes these people that have some sort of product that they want to sell you. And that's what his MMO is. All these people, they want to sell you something. And he has them on their show, and he does interviews with them, and 95% of the interviews, they try and uphold the bullshit slave system that we're all trapped into right now as some sort of good thing. He has military scumbags on, and he has stock market scumbags on, and they say all sorts of nice things to try and sugarcoat their tyrannical message that they try and push. But it's pure bullshit. And that the main point I'm showing you this is I just want you to understand that the amount of fake social media accounts and sock puppet accounts is in the millions. So just because you see a ton of subscribers or a ton of comments has no relevance to whether it's actually real interest in the subject. So the next topic I really want to get into is the main way that social media is being weaponized. And this, you know what, this video is probably going to run longer than I want it to, but I'm just going to have to go with it. The main way that social media has been weaponized, and it's fully weaponized at this point, is that they use paid sock puppets. And it's not just the social media, the regular media and segments of the population, and I'll get into that when I start talking about Antifa and Tommy the Shill Robinson. But what's happening is they're using paid shills and sock puppets to create fake demographics. And what happens is they create these custom tailored demographics that have very little basis in reality and in the real population. And what they use, this is not a new method, but what social media has allowed them to do is, with very little resources, create large demographics of people that don't exist in reality. And what else it allows them to do is it allows them to create very specific, custom tailored demographics that allow them to steer society in very specific ways. And that is the main way that social media is being weaponized. So when you see something like, for instance, Flat Earth was the beginning of the weaponization of social media. I'll probably get into that a little more later. I'm going to try and keep this under 20 minutes, but I'm already halfway there and I got a lot to cover. But that's the main way that social media is being weaponized. They're using fake demographics of sock puppets to create custom tailored demographics. And then what happens is they use these custom tailored demographics to drag the real population along with their agendas. And that is the main way that social media is being weaponized. Now, that's just the sock puppet aspect of it. And there's other aspects to it as well. Like, for example, Antifa is a completely intelligence-controlled organization. And the media coverage of it and the police reaction to it it's all provocateur psyops. If you want to understand more about what Antifa is, go look up the wiki on COINTELPRO, and it'll give you a little bit of an idea of how Antifa is being used. But they're even being used a little more sneakily than even the COINTELPRO info on the wiki will give you. They're basically, it's just divide and conquer nonsense that's intelligence controlled. The police are 100% in on it. And it's all psyops to control the minds of people who are stupid enough to not realize they're being presented a show. Another thing I want to talk about is the police. And they're actually being used as well. Divide and conquer, one of the biggest divide and conquer tools that are currently being used right now is the police against the population. And I don't think anybody really sees that they hate police. And believe me, I hate police more than anybody. I've had 2 experiences with police in my life, and both times the most blatant corruption was displayed from the pig level all the way to the judge level. So at that point, after the second time I witnessed that type of corruption, I lost complete respect for pigs and the whole justice system in general. And I know that that's the case for a lot of people, that once they have one encounter with police that shows how corrupt it is, they hate them for the rest of their lives. But the one thing I want people to understand is that it is being pushed. The division between the police and the population is being pushed from people that are sitting above both the police and the population. The police against the population is their biggest current divide and conquer scheme that they have. And it's really working well. They've literally created 2 different citizens. There's the sovereign citizen police, who have no accountability and think they're some sort of god. And then there's the plebes that basically are just beholden to these power-tripping lunatics that have drank their own Kool-Aid, that think that they're there just to have their boots licked. And I hate to down the police, because they're actually equally as manipulated as the population is, but I have a little less respect for them than the population itself, because you got to be a real idiot to take that type of job where you want to interfere in the daily life of strangers that you've never met. To even get into that career, you've had to have been really mind raped for your whole life. But I just want people to understand their hugest tool right now in the divide and conquer scheme isn't all their little factions against each other, the left versus right. That's probably second, is the left versus right. or tied for first. But the pigs versus the population is their number one divide and conquer scheme. So the next thing I want to talk about is just some people that, in my opinion, are the other end of the weaponization of the social media, meaning like people that are shills putting out content that aren't presenting themselves as what they claim to be. And they're not that was kind of what I did in my last video, but like I said, 9 out of 10 alternative media outlets can't be trusted as far as you could throw them. And I'm just going to talk about one or two right now that I think should be brought to light because they're really, number one, the first way you can tell that you're dealing with a shill is because much of their interaction in their videos is all sock puppet comments. And if you have any idea like how sock puppets work, their comments are very easy to pick out. And the first person that I want to talk about here is Mr. High Impact Flicks, Brian Young, I think his name is, or claims his name is. And this guy here, somebody had asked about him in my last vid, and I said that I was undecided about his intentions. But since then, Mr. Brian here has really shown himself to be a scumbag. And I'm just going to show you a few things that should make you suspicious about Mr. Brian here. And the first thing here is that this is a video he posted the other day about the YouTube employee flips out. And one thing you have to understand is that the mainstream media and the alt media are working together. It's not, they're tag teaming. The mainstream media feeds the alt media shills content to be delivered from a different angle. And that is what Mr. Bry the Shill here does for the most part. And I'm just going to show you one thing that I think is a little bit suspicious a couple things I think are suspicious. There was a comment on this video the other day posted about Tommy the Zionist Shill Robinson. And everybody pretty much jumped on the comment, and eventually the Tony Eden guy here deleted the comment. But not before Brian made a comment himself on it and said, Robinson admits to being a proud Zionist. I can't support that. Zionism is one of, if not the most insidious ideologies on the face of the earth. And he's absolutely right. And this was 2 days ago. Now, in the last 2 days here, Mr. Shill Brian somehow had a miraculous change of heart. Now, he's making videos in support of Tommy the Zionist Shill Robinson. And doesn't even bring up any of, and if you watch the video, I'm not going to go through the videos. You can go through the videos and come to your own conclusions. But what I'm telling you here is that what's happening is that the mainstream media and the alternative media are being used to tag team anybody stupid enough to not understand that the whole thing is a giant psyop to manipulate anybody stupid enough to listen to it. And that's one thing I want to show you here is that from 2 days, Mr. Brian here had a miraculous change of heart. Now, I can't understand why that would happen, and it's not even brought up that just 2 days ago he had a totally different belief. And I'm going to show you a couple other things about Brian here that I'd be very suspicious about. Here, we're going to look at this one here. And this one here is the disturbing connection CNN's hiding from the Epstein story. And I just want to say one thing. Why is it just CNN that's hiding it? Nobody is talking about, well, I mean, I haven't heard this from anybody, not just CNN. Nobody is talking about this except for this video that I've seen about it. But the main thing I want people to understand here is that this is a 10-minute video that is all scripted. He's reading from a script. From a certain point on, he's reading from a script that he didn't write. And that should make people very suspicious, because that means that he's being fed content from an outside source. And the fact that somebody's being fed content and they're reading it, it means that they're just parroting content for somebody else. And that goes right back to the previous video that I made. The fact that he's reading scripts and not really being honest about it should give people reason to be suspicious. And here's another thing I want to, and the other thing I want to mention about Brian here is that the comments, the interaction on Mr. Shill Impact vlogs, much of the content, much of these comments are sock puppet accounts. You can tell just by the content of the comments that they're pushing psychological operations. A lot of them are race baiting. A lot of them are liberal or right wing. You could just tell that they're not real people making these comments. They're made to try and make the illusion of all these different factions. And even a lot of Bry's vids himself, like, he claims to not want government, but then a lot of his vids push political nonsense. And I'm going to show you one other one here. And this one here is blatant shilling by Mr. Brian the Shill here. And it says, why mainstream media is starting to disable their YouTube comment section. But then basically what he does here, I'm going to tell you the backstory of this. There's a Fox News clip that pretends to be claiming that Clinton and Epstein have no connection. And what Brian here does is completely, and this is where I want to show you how the alt media and the mainstream media are being, this is done purposely. He knows exactly what he's doing here. But the story is that this Fox News video is trying to claim that Clinton and Epstein have no connection, and that's what this video is trying to claim. And then Bry here is chiming in to say, oh no, there's a connection, and Fox News is lying, and this, that, and the other thing. But what Bry doesn't tell you, and anybody that has any sort of intelligence can see, is that the whole point of this Fox video was to make a news broadcast putting Clinton's name and Epstein's name together in the broadcast. That was the point. The point of the broadcast was to connect Clinton and Epstein. It isn't like Bry is pretending here that it was meant to say they weren't connected. It was meant as to be a broadcast putting both of those names in mainstream news next to each other. And then that's how the alt media is being used as, like, basically he's like a sock puppet here. He's taking this thing at face value, knowing damn well that that isn't what this story was meant to do. This story was blatantly meant as a way to connect Clinton's name with Epstein's. Now, I don't have a problem with that, but what I do have a problem with is that it's done sneakily, and Brian here just happens to not notice that and just takes the whole thing at face value and then goes along with the pretend narrative like he's against Fox News and that Clinton's bad. But the whole thing was a sham, because the whole point of the Fox News video was to connect Clinton and Epstein. So his whole premise here is bullshit. And that's how the mainstream media and alt media shills are being used to manipulate really stupid people. And I hate to say that because a lot of the people in the comments who might be considered really stupid people are actually just sock puppets, paid, like I said, fake demographics, being paid to post on YouTube. I'm already at 25 minutes. I know I'm going to lose people on this vid, but hopefully people watch to the end. So that's the only thing I want to say. And I know, I'm sure I'm going to get people that are going to say, oh no, Brian's a great guy. He likes guns. Well, I like guns too, but that don't mean for a second that this dude right here ain't on the take. He's taking money, and he's taking money to propagandize people. Basically, is what he's doing. He can't be trusted, and you're more than welcome to swallow his bullshit if that's what you want to do. But that's what you're doing. You're swallowing a shill's load of bullshit. And this video here, this where he tries to take this Fox News video at face value, this was the one that really did it for me with him, because it's so blatant to anybody that knows how propaganda works that all this video was to try and place Clinton's name and Epstein's name out together in the mainstream media. And he totally just pretends like that. He takes this nonsense at face value and then goes right ahead and plays that role he's supposed to be playing, and giving you a different angle than what the mainstream media is pretending to give you. But it's actually the same angle that Fox is giving you. It's the same exact angle, but just rewrapped for people that are stupid enough not to realize the alternative media is totally controlled. And there's one other person that I want to talk about here, and I'm going to say right now that I don't think that this guy is as bad as Brian the Shill here. But one other person that you need to watch out for is Mr. James Corbett here. And I do think that James Corbett does put out some good content. And the only reason I'm making this is because I'm bringing him into this is because I want people to understand that just because somebody's good most of the time doesn't mean they won't sell their soul some of the time. And I want to just show you two examples of where James Corbett here sold his soul. No matter how much good content he puts out, he's on the take too. And the one thing I want people to understand is there's very few people who are going to make money, who are going to make a living in the media, that aren't going to be pretty easily corruptible, because that's the whole point of the media. If anybody has a large following, that's the whole point of these influencer shills, is that anybody that's trying to make a living on social media, I would say 99 out of 100 people who are trying to make a living in the alt media on these type of topics can't be trusted as far as you can throw them. And this is a video here that James did a while back. He removed it from his channel. And I've called him out on this in the past. He's removed it from his channel, but you can still find it on this channel. And it's called Pipeline Politics and the Rewiring of Eurasia. And he did this video, but it's pure propaganda for building a pipeline. Whoever's trying to build this pipeline paid him to basically push propaganda for it. And that's what this video is. It's missing from his channel. It used to be on there. It's now gone, but you could still find it on this channel. So the only reason I'm bringing James into this is because I just want to show that even though somebody can put out a lot of good content, you still have to be very, very cautious of swallowing hook, line, and sinker all of the shit that these alt media people feed you, no matter how good some of the info they give you is. And another video I want to show you that he was shilling is this one here, where he's talking about the dark history of the minimum wage. Now, I'm not really for the minimum wage, but what I'm telling you is that this video that he did was paid for by corporate interests. And there's no reason that a person in Japan that works as a journalist and invests in Bitcoin should have any concern at all about the minimum wage in Seattle, Washington. Or I think it was Washington or Oregon. This was a shill video, and they always try and with the socialism crap. And I mean, whenever anybody brings up socialism and capitalism, there's a good chance you're being fed a load of shit. But I just want to show you can watch the vid yourself. But I'm telling you right now, this is another, and Corbett's done it a few other times, but this was a paid-for propaganda piece. And the only reason I'm even bringing him into it is because most of his content is good. But the whole point is that just because most of somebody's content's good doesn't mean they won't sell you out in a heartbeat for a couple bucks. And that is why the alt media can't be trusted. And that is how social media is being weaponized. You guys, if you like these videos, please like them. I get a lot of dislikes on my vids because I'm very vocal in the comment section of other vids. So it pisses these sock puppets off, and then they go and dislike my content. So please like the vids if you watch them and like them, and dislike them if you don't like them. But my stuff, this will never be monetized. I will never be making a cent off of any of this stuff. I'm just putting this stuff out there because it really needs to be talked about. And I don't really think people understand how social media is being used. So, and feel free to re-upload these, do whatever. Take care. And the next vid will be about Masons. Or I like to call them evil man-child scouts. But that'll be coming up soon. Take care, guys.